Hi, I'm Cory, and I'm fucking pissed off, and here's why. It's cold out, the deer aren't moving, but the beer is moving, and Krytac is still the fucking best airsoft gun. Oh my god, Krytac's so good. It's the best mid-tier gun out there. And the stocks sometimes break, but we're going to talk about that later. But anyways, today we're going to talk about why Krytac is the best mid-tier airsoft gun on the market still.
Alright, okay. I did not realize the intro was going to go that way. But, hi, I'm Eric. Yeah, we're going to talk about kind of our opinions on how Krytac holds up in today's market, because now it has been 6 years since the Krytac brand launched. I have actually owned this Krytac for all 6 of those years. It's got a new lower at this point because of that lower cracking issue that is oh so famous on Reddit and Facebook groups and all that. But we're going to talk about like how do they hold up in today's market? How has the competition come around to them? How has Krytac adapted? Have they adapted enough? Should they be doing more? And also like how this new latest gen Krytac compares to this old first batch Krytac that I got from GI with their first launch. And I have done some updates to it, of course, but those updates I think also are worth mentioning. So
Yeah.
let's start off with, what's this gun?
Okay, so this is the EMG Barrett Krytac licensed Rec 7 DI. Which I think stands for something like that. Anyways, who gives a fuck?
It's the non-piston Barrett Rec 7, I believe, which I don't know if there is a piston-driven Rec 7. I'm not super well-versed on that particular weapon.
Yeah, we live in a shitty state about guns.
Yeah, we don't get to play with a lot of the cool toys.
Anyways, well, this is a quasi-review of this gun. So it has some sweet Barrett trades, and we'll get some B-roll for you. And I've done a little bit to this. Normally, this would be flat dark earth, but I hate things that are only a single color, which is where I'm wearing camouflage cutoff shorts and an orange t-shirt. But yeah, I just rattle canned it a little bit with a lighter tan. It's got full Barrett everything on the other side, including the caliber multi. Didn't know that was a bullet. And I switched out a couple things. It comes with the Defiant stock, which normally I would love the Krytac Defiant stock, but on mine it was basically trash from out of the box. I don't know what was happening, but I left it out for one night and the QDs on both sides rusted to shit. And the battery space is great, but the battery space isn't great when the slide, the little bar that you push up to extend and collapse the stock, that just gave out immediately. Like from the box, it just didn't work well. So
It sounds like a lemon.
Yeah, probably a lemon. And it did come with plastic flip-up sights, which I actually really love. I do
love those new Defiance flip-up sights. Those are really sweet.
They're nice as hell, man. You can put it down midway, so you can just look at the front sight completely, which is kind of a neat thing. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. And then you've got the two apertures. You've got the near and the far, or the gas mask and the actual aperture if you're a stupid, dumb, almost grunt like me. But I did go ahead and put the old metal front sight back on just because I like a fixed front sight that's always up that I can use.
I still have mine from my gun.
Yeah, they're nice.
I think they're very practical and they're very slim, so they don't take up a lot of room on the rail.
Yeah, and stop putting them backwards. That's my alarm. I have to go. Stop putting them backwards. That bothers me. I did see one guy, I think it was Broadwing Airsoft, use one as a foregrip once or a hand stop. That's fucking hilarious. Keep doing that. That's the content we want to see. Same QD selector switch.
Well, ambi selector switch, I think.
Ambi, that's the word. Wow. We've got, I think this is the Gen 2, the Krytac.
So that trigger guard?
Yeah, that's trigger guard.
That trigger guard is actually from, I want to say they've had that for a long time. Okay. So the Mark II lower receiver has that built in.
But I do really like this trigger guard, if one can like a trigger guard.
I feel like trigger guards...
If they're cheap and shitty, they can literally cut your hand.
Yeah, but honestly, as long as a trigger guard doesn't have any shitty sharp edges, I've never had a problem with the standard straight trigger guard. I feel like a lot of that for airsoft purposes is a big gimmick. And whereas then you get into real guns, obviously, if you're like actually operating in the winter wearing heavy gloves, maybe you actually give a shit about your trigger guard.
Yeah.
But, like, I've got big man meat hands, a double XL glove size, and I have yet to find a situation where there's a trigger guard that doesn't have room for me. So, like, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that everyone's like, enhanced trigger guard. I'm just like, it's the fucking same.
Yeah. So the dust cover on this is like sort of a gripe. It's plastic. It will break.
Well, plastic dust covers have become more common.
Yeah, I mean they're
in the
pretty
airsoft industry.
Yeah, for airsoft, totally not a big deal. Even real guns, we're starting to see with channels like In Range TV that your dust cover doesn't matter at all. So yeah, not a big deal. It still locks, which is good. It still
I wonder if the real Rec 7 has a plastic dust cover. We're not sure. Again, we're not super familiar with the real weapons platform.
Also, another thing I don't know, I think the hop-up chamber is the same.
It is. That is the same standard hop-up chamber.
Okay.
Which is the same hop-up chamber I've been using in this Krytac for 6 years.
Forever.
Yeah.
They're great hop-up chambers. So let's go up front a little bit. Trijicon Reflex sight, thanks to Ian. The rail system, that's the reason I bought this gun. I wanted a modern AR platform AEG that took M-LOK accessories, and it accepts these BCM rail scales perfectly, and I really like these rail scales. If you're looking for good ones, I highly recommend them. The rail attaches by Allen bolts. I don't know what exactly the size is, but pretty standard size. I had no problem getting it off and on. I'm one of those sick fucks that takes their rail off to attach attachments sometimes because I get really frustrated with mechanical things. We have the infamous Krytac bolts on here that sometimes get really sticky. I haven't taken this gun apart yet because I've ran it stock. Speaking of running it stock, out of the box, this was chronoing at 1.2 joules with 3 twos. So fuck your FPS limits. You should all be using joules at this point, which means I can pretty much use this gun wherever I want, which is fantastic.
I think the only thing it would be over for is a lot of indoor fields have a 1.15 joule limit.
Stop doing that.
But any outdoor game, and like that's fine.
I pretty much at this point I pretty much only do outdoor stuff. So yeah, it shoots great. The consistency of this is excellent. The range is pretty good, about 200 to 225 feet. If I put a max hop-up unit in it, it would probably sail. I have a really cheap G&P with a max hop-up unit, and
I would say more important than the hop-up unit, because these Krytac hop-up units are actually very good hop-up units.
Yeah.
The only issue that you run into is the amount that the hop-up can protrude into the chamber with the standard bucking and nub configuration.
Okay.
That's why that's the job of R-Hop, which is why a lot of people are like, R-Hop is the thing that you should get if you want extra range. And I'm like, only if you're going to use heavy enough BBs that will carry the inertia and take advantage of that extra lift from the R-Hop. Like, yeah, R-Hop with 2.5s versus Krytac bucking with 2.5s is not going to be a fucking difference. It's 2.5, it can only carry energy so far. It can only go so well. Whereas if you actually take advantage of being able to apply pressure slowly, more evenly, you will have less energy loss and greater range with heavier BBs like 3.2s, 3.6s, and 4s.
So this gun also does come with a muzzle brake, which is cool because a lot of airsoft guns come with flash hiders. But this one comes with a Barrett muzzle brake, and it is freaking cool. It's a paperweight, and I do like longer guns. I do wish I got the longer version of this. This is, I believe, considered the SBR variant.
Yes, it is 10.5 inches.
Yeah. So I would have preferred to get the 14.5 inch. I think that's what it is. That one, that would look great with a muzzle brake. But for this, with such a short platform, I wanted a suppressor. So that's what I'm running. And
well, tracer units are very useful in their own right.
absolutely. That's a whole nother video on its own.
So, that's all really cool.
Yes.
Thing is, that has not changed that much, except in a couple of ways from this. And granted, this is obviously very altered in its external configuration. I've got the Troy VTAC rail. I've got the Mark II lower because I broke the original lower. This thing's all stripped out and looks like shit because it's a beat up multicam black paint job that I used for the latest Omega event. But in terms of the actual internals and all that stuff, Krytac has not changed that much since they introduced their line in 2014. The only major updates they've made, from what I understand, are they've added T-plugs.
Yes.
Fucking Deans. T-plugs. I can just roll in a picture.
Yep.
But they've added the Deans plug. And they have also, in response to the fact people kept breaking the lower receivers, they have actually added a screw that goes from the buffer tube mounting system into the back of the gearbox to reinforce that area. That was something that was largely speculated to be one of the causes of the Krytac syndrome. And while I have not broken... so I've broken 2 Krytac lowers. I've owned 4 Krytac guns.
I've owned 3. This is my 3rd.
I've owned a Krytac Vector, a Krytac TR-47, this Krytac CRB, and a Krytac LMG. I've broken 2 lowers. Both the times I broke the lowers, I was abusing the gun. I broke the lower because of me. So I'll be the first person to own it. I've broken 2 Krytac lowers, and both times were on me. So a lot of people feel like Krytac is so fucking fragile, it's so easy to break. At a certain level, you have to understand that these aren't firearms.
Didn't Kyle throw his PDW down a set of concrete
His
stairs?
sling broke. His sling broke and it fell down a set of concrete stairs. But yeah, his PDW was fine.
Yep.
There were some gouges and dents, obviously, and some scratches, but the gun itself was totally functional, didn't break. So people act like these are very fragile, you really have to baby them. But my observation, at least anecdotally, has been that if you treat these things like the fact that they're airsoft guns and not real firearms, generally speaking, they're not going to break. I don't understand how a lot of people say that they break these guns, but they're totally not doing anything abusive. I really kind of give it the side eye. I'm like, oh yeah, you sure you didn't pitch it into the dirt? Because both times I broke a lower, that's what I did.
You sure you didn't enter a door and slap your stock against the door frame?
Have you broken a Krytac lower? You've owned 3 Krytacs.
I've run 3 Krytacs. I have not broken any part on a Krytac gun ever. The only issue I ever had with a Krytac was my first CRB, which was the first generation, bought shortly after you got yours.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months after you got yours. And it lost compression over time.
Krytac sucks. So, and that's another thing too, is maintenance of your guns is something that...
I didn't even clean it.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people don't maintain their guns, and I'm also terrible at maintaining. I mean, shit, look at all the rust and, scratches and everything on this gun. I'm terrible at maintaining my guns, too.
Omega, though.
Yeah, but what I have found from owning this Krytac for 6 years, from owning 3 other Krytacs throughout the years, and from how many Krytacs have cycled through the Gun Gamers group?
Probably at least 6 to 8.
Yeah. We've got Kyle's PDW.
Yep.
We had Quinn's PDW. We've had your Krytacs.
Katie Fox's PDW. Becca's PDW.
Yeah. We've had...
Maybe 10.
We've had a lot of Krytacs. There's Fox's LVOA.
Yep. I actually had 3.5 Krytacs because I had 2 separate uppers for one gun.
Well, that doesn't count.
I guess.
So we have a lot of trigger time on Krytacs. We've used Krytacs at a wide variety of events for a long time since they came out. And the reason I think we keep cycling back to Krytac, because there is a lot of good competition for Krytac out now.
Yeah.
G&P, the i5, has had a lot of its issues, but I actually think the old school, base G&Ps can be very good guns.
Awesome.
VFC The Avalon series is generally very good, although that has a couple of issues, unfortunately. But its issues are pretty easily rectified. And honestly, I would say VFC has just as many issues as Krytac, whereas Krytac has their own unique issues.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of people say, "Oh, Specna is so much better than Krytac." Yeah, if you get one that works. People who work in the industry have informed me what their return rate is, and it's not good. So keep that in mind. Ares does anyone talk about Ares anymore?
No, what is Ares?
Like
that's a god, right?
Yeah. It's is that the Greek god? Yeah, Greek. I always forget Greek and Roman gods because the Romans
Macedonian?
the Romans were like, "Oh, yo, Greece, can we copy your homework?" So, but the thing I found from this ridiculous number of Krytacs we've used and had trigger time with is what I prioritize in an airsoft gun might be different from what other people prioritize in an airsoft gun. I think is pretty closely aligned with what you prioritize in an airsoft gun.
Does it work? Okay, good. Does it shoot well? Okay, good.
Yeah, I want to be able to pick up a gun or drop a gun. I want to be, and it didn't break. But I want to be able to pick up a gun out of the box, go play with it, hop my 3.2 gram BBs that I use in pretty much everything, have decent range, accuracy, and consistency, and then be able to use it that way without a lot of effort and a lot of tinkering and a lot of messing with it for years.
Yep.
And then when things break and wear out, because that's any machine, especially airsoft guns, as things break and wear out, I can get all of the parts very easily and fix it. Yep. I have broken a lower on this gun. I was able to get a new lower. The ambidextrous selector switch wore out on my gun because I use this gun so much. And I was able to buy a new selector switch set and fix the issue. I have replaced the piston head and cylinder head in this gun just because eventually it got to a point where like it was looking real grimy, real dirty, and like scrubbing it didn't get all the stuff off because I am abusive to this gun if I'm being frank. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just throw a new set. I put an OEM set in here. I have an ASG motor because, I mean, that's just a really good motor. I wasn't paying $75 for Krytac stock motor. That is one of the things, actually, I will say, don't buy a Krytac stock motor. They're not worth $75. But an ASG motor for $50? Totally. And I put a Gate Titan in here.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm rocking the stock Krytac hop-up unit. I'm rocking the stock bucking that I keep replacing with the same bucking. And I'm rocking the Prometheus inner barrel. But I rocked the stock inner barrel on this gun for at least 2.5 years. Yeah. Until they actually came out with the Prometheus upgrade barrels. So I don't see where a lot of people, because there's like a weird anti-Krytac sentiment with a lot of people now.
Yeah.
I don't see where that comes from when you're not obsessing over every little detail. And instead, you're actually going out and beating up the gun, using the gun within reason, of course. That's where I think Krytac shine. They are players' guns, first and foremost. They're not impressionist guns.
Yeah.
They're not tech dream guns. They're not, every spec on paper looks amazing guns. But you take it out of the box, and assuming you get a good one, which, every brand has their lemons. Krytac, I think, has a relatively low number of lemons. But, of course, they still happen. And, of course, we're talking about the U.S. market. I know they've had difficulties in the U.K. related to their motor and some of their other specs they had to change. But in the U.S., you buy a Krytac, you take it out of the box, you put a battery in, and you go play, and you are competitive with pretty much everyone else's guns, within reason, of course.
Yeah. I pretty much have the same beliefs and desires out of an airsoft gun that Eric has. And this is why I bought it, because I knew that I could take this and use it and it wouldn't die. And I also needed something that I could abuse outside of the guns that I have for impressions. So I would rather put effort and time and teching into my impression kit AEG than I would this. Like when I go out and I want to play just for fun, this is what I do. If I'm going out, like if I were to go to American Milsim and I'm not running an impression, I would run this 100% over the GNP. And that's strictly due to ergonomics. But man, Krytac has really kept up. But there are some things about Krytac that we'd still like to see, like the Origin 12. That Mark 36, I think that's what it is.
Well, that gun, I don't think is going to happen because the real gun company is in limbo.
Yeah, so that happens. It would be cool to see that. It would be cool to see Krytac to make a real AK, not some god-awful, ugly abomination that Eric loves. I'm so sorry. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. Oh, my God. I don't even have to look in his eyes. I'm going to feel the anxiety of him striking me with those large, strong hands. Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see a Krytac 308 like style, like an AR-10 platform.
There's a lot of stuff they could do, and I don't want to speak too much out of turn here, but one of the things is, I will say, Krytac promises a lot. And when they deliver well.
Yes.
But they promise a lot, and they kind of work on valve time in some ways. Like the whole Poseidon series of upgrade parts, those CNC machined bodies they keep showing off. Like, a lot of that stuff has been shown off for years. And we have yet to see it. And I really want to see that stuff because it seems like cool things. And I really want to see the Trident Mark III, what that's going to be, and what the Poseidon series of guns is going to be. Because I know like what some of that stuff is supposed to be, but we want to see it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the issue we run into is the COVID-19 pandemic slowing everything down. Although Airsoft has actually been up as a market in general, from what I understand. But the COVID-19 pandemic does make R&D and things like that a little bit slower because workplaces were on hold for so long. But then the other problem you run into is that Chris Group, other than Krytac, is not in a great place financially. And I worry that Chris Group's financial situation outside of Krytac does impact how much they can reinvest in Krytac has their problems. And none of what we're saying here is to dismiss the fact that like Krytacs aren't perfect. Their MOSFET system is really basic and could definitely use an update. Their motor is fine, but not exceptional, and it's definitely not worth what they want for it on the secondary market. They did fix for the most part, their low receiver crack with that new extended screw. Good on them, and also I genuinely don't think that's as big an issue as the internet makes it out to be. And then, of course, another issue is, of course, Krytac working on valve time, promising a lot, taking a long time to deliver it. But for all of that, yes, Krytacs are expensive for what they are, I think. Yeah. Like, I would say I can agree 100% that Krytacs are expensive for what they are. But Krytacs are expensive for what they are, but it's a price I'm willing to pay because I know that within reason, this is about as consistent of a stock gun that I can expect. And I'm going to take it out, play with it until something needs an update or something breaks years down the line. And then when that happens, I can very easily take it apart. And though it's not 100% compatible with every single little upgrade you want to do without any amount of work, I was able to put a gate tighten in this. I've got a good compression set in here with the factory compression set that I've yet to actually break any parts of. Yeah, I just don't see any downside to these guns from a player perspective when you're actually taking this gun out and using it hard at events. I think a lot of people get caught up in the minutia of min-maxing every little tech spec on paper, and I don't think that necessarily benefits a lot of people on the field as much as they think it does. All right. I think we're done here. I guess the TLDR is, Krytac's not perfect. What is? We still love them in 2020. And we hope the best for the brand because we've had a lot of really fun times using their guns. If you have alternative thoughts and disagree with us, we don't take it that serious.
But I don't care.
Well, yeah, but like I'm not gonna go James Yeager and fucking yell at you because you don't like Krytac. Put your reasons why you do or don't like Krytac in the comments below. yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. We got a little rambly, so I'll probably cut it down a bit, but hope you had fun. We did.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm like so out of practice. I like barely make videos anymore.
Thank you for watching this video from Gun Gamers. We hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. Check the description below if you'd like to buy a t-shirt or a patch, and use the coupon code JUDY10 for 10% off of your next order at Amped Airsoft. Thank you again for watching, and praise Judy.
So, we're gonna listen to Deftones after this, right?
Oh my fuck, dude. I was just blasting out of the way here.
Dude, yeah. I just got the vinyl, so we're gonna fucking listen to Deftones after this.
We're gonna listen to Deftones. Fucking, hopefully, Mastodon is actually coming out with a full album. Like this year. And
fingers crossed.
Hopefully Gojira.
Dude, I would love a new Gojira album. I hope it's either late this year or early next year, because they did drop Another World, which was a good track, but I want to hear more.
I would love to hear more.
I want to hear more.
Apparently, I think it was Mario or Joe Duplantier said in an interview.
Black Tongue was in the studio not long ago either, so I'm really hoping.
Baroness is in the studio too.
Dude, fuck, there's so much good music coming.
Yeah, everyone's just like, we can't go on tour. We'll make records. We appreciate you, metal artists out there.
Yep, and we appreciate you who are still watching this.
Yeah.
Why are you still watching this? The video's over.
If you made it this far.
Like, the video's been over.
What the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, like,
go home.
I didn't invite you. Like, you don't get to listen to Deftones with us. I'm sorry.
You can't. That's premium content. You can get that on our OnlyFans.
You have to subscribe to my back hair pictures OnlyFans if you wanna listen to records with us.
Gun Gamers has an OnlyFans now, and it's just pictures of Eric with back hair coming out of a tiny plate carrier.
Yep.
Which is actually a real photo.
It's real gross, but it's there.
It's there. $5.99 a month.
I'm gonna flash this up for one frame, but it's gonna be all censored, so you have to actually pay for the OnlyFans to see it.
Jesus, man.